Yo, welcome back. Episode 25 of the Splat Sports Network. 25 of these G-Russ. Look at us. And Barrett. Barrett's not been here for 25, but it feels like it. The Splat Picks boys are off for 2 weeks, so y'all should be watching this one. Please, for the love of anything. I don't know why Splat Picks is off for 2 weeks. I guess because they don't have anything to cover, just like we don't.
They're at Camp Ozark right now. They don't have phones and stuff.
Never mind. They have no technology. Anyway, let's jump into our vast topics today. Oh, Team USA, the Olympics just around the corner. Kawhi Leonard has left the USA basketball team. He's replaced by Derek White. A lot of people saying, hey, Jaylen Brown. A lot of other options could have filled that spot than Derek White. I think that Derek White was the pick just because he fits that team better, really, if you look at it, than Jaylen Brown. That's just me. But, Giros, was this the better option for him?
I think that Jaylen Brown was the better option just because, you're replacing Kawhi Leonard. I think Jaylen Brown is more like Kawhi Leonard than Derek White. Derek White is still a good defender, though. I think he was second team. But, yeah, I think this shows a lot about Kawhi Leonard, and his status right now. He's kind of, I know he was injured, but I think his stardom has tanked a little bit. He's still a great player and all, but, I don't think there's a ton of people that I don't think people are liking it more and more. I think he's becoming less popular within the NBA.
Well, the Clippers advised him not to do it just because they want him to play for the Clippers, not get hurt playing for Team USA, which I'll get how that works. But, Barrett, was this the better option?
Yeah, I think it was. I think Derek White, kind of is a better role player than Jaylen Brown is. And this USA team is obviously filled with Curry, LeBron, KD, superstars, right? They're close to the dream team almost. So I think Derek White just coming in and being comfortable playing a role player instead of a Jaylen Brown who's really used to having the ball most of the game. I think it's going to work out better for USA as to where they can kind of come together as a team. So I like the move kind of going with a star role player in a sense.
Speaking of scores, who's going to be the scoring option? In my opinion, I think it should be KD or Curry. The reason why it's not going to be LeBron, LeBron is very underrated at getting assists. Okay, he's very underrated at that. He throws passes that nobody's ever seen before. That's why I think LeBron is not going to be the top scorer. He's going to score, okay? They're playing Slovakia. Okay, he's going to drop 20 on them, okay? Trust me. He's just not going to be the top scorer. I think it's going to be Kevin Durant, Curry, Tatum, one of those guys, either another forward or a point guard that they can just do a catch and shoot to kind of. Barrett, who do you think is going to be the top scorer for them?
I definitely feel it's going to be one of the three older guys now between Curry, KD, or LeBron. I don't know. Really, until the later rounds, I don't think we're going to be able to know who the true go-to option is, so to say. Just because the talent levels are just so vastly different. So I think when it comes down to it, I think they're going to put the ball in LeBron's hands, and Curry's hands, and KD's hands as well. So I'm not really sure who it's going to be. I think we'll have to watch a couple more games and see, how things shake out.
Juras?
I think it should be Embiid. I think at the beginning of the NBA season, he showed that he should have won MVP if he played the right amount of games before his injury. He was very dominant. I think he had more free throws attempted than a few NBA teams, which is absurd. I know it's FIBA rules and it's different, but I think it will be Steph Curry overall. I think that, that he'll be on court most of the time. I think that, a lot of these foreign guys haven't seen somebody like Curry who's just out there. He's going to shoot it from everywhere. He's the best shooter ever, and I think that that's the best option.
Curry was the first one to arrive at the camp. I also saw a clip of Embiid trying to draw a foul. FIBA rules, like Gira said, drawing fouls are a bit tougher in the FIBA, as they say. But what happens if the United States can't win gold? I think they will. I don't think that they really have any competition, let's be honest. I think they got pissed off after the last couple of years. Gira, what happens if the United States doesn't win?
I think it shows that it's obviously Curry, KD, LeBron's probably final Olympics. If they do lose, I think it's definitely a sign to change the guard to the younger players like Anthony Edwards. But I think if they do lose, it'll show how big the international scene is. Teams like France, bring a lot of young guys into the league. I think they play better with each other, and I think the NBA will become more dominant from other countries instead of the USA.
Eric?
Yeah, if they don't win, I'll be very, very shocked. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Grant. I was sitting back thinking a couple of days ago. I think I was on scrolling on YouTube or something, and France's like exhibition game highlights popped up, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, in the next several years, I mean, I really feel that France could legitimately be the team to beat in the Olympics. So, I mean, it's just showing you how much the game of basketball has grown on a global stage, and it's not going to be an easy win for USA every year like it's been the past couple of years. I think, just overall talent increasing all around the world, and it's been great for the game of basketball.
There you go. That's Team USA Olympics. Like I said, right around the corner. We have exhibition games going on. I think the USA just played Canada. I really believe, right? Yep. Dylan Brooks said that they need to play defense. They play defense, okay? Just goes to show how smart Dylan Brooks is. Now, it's time. College football game right around the corner Monday. The boys will be playing. But we are excited because football, like I said, is right around the corner. I don't know why I'm repeating myself tonight. But we decided that we were going to do the Power Four conferences, so the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and the ACC. Whoever can predict, we'll look back at this once we crown a national champion. Whoever, makes the correct predictions gets to be called the king of football over here at the Splat Sports Network. Now, I have presided that role, and I do plan to keep that up. So our first conference is going to be of course, the SEC conference. Look at that. SEC now on ABC. No, we are not sponsored or crossing over with them.
We wish.
Barrett, I believe you're up first for your predictions. So go ahead and talk about your standings here.
Okay, so I had to take to the wonderful resource of the World Wide Web just a couple minutes ago to compile my list. It was really mainly for like 5 through 12, mainly. I kind of knew the top tiers and the lower tiers, but obviously Georgia at 1. I think that's going to be everyone's number one. Pretty self-explanatory. They've been the best team in college football for like 3 years now. And then Texas. Obviously Texas is really good, coming off a great year the year before. New conference, though, we'll see how that kind of affects them. It's a different game here in the SEC than the Big 12. And then Ole Miss is a team that I'm pretty high on. They bring back a lot of players from last year. And then Lane Kiffin went out and had a great portal class. I think Jackson Darson had a really good year being able to throw it to, a guy like Juice Wells who came over from South Carolina. So I think their defense will be pretty good as well. So Ole Miss is a team that I'm pretty high on. And then Alabama, obviously a new era down in Tuscaloosa with Kalen DeBoer. I think Bama is still going to be a top SEC team year in and year out, but I think their days of being the undisputed dominant team in college football are probably done for them. No knock on Kalen DeBoer though. And then number 5 is going to be my Tennessee Vols. Maybe a little biased here, but I think Nico Iamaleava is going to be able to bring the offense back to a level that we saw with Hendon Hooker. And that puts a lot less pressure on the Vols defense, and they're overall just better when they're playing good offense. LSU at 6, they're a good team as well. Very solid year in and year out. Brian Kelly does a pretty good job with them. They lose Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, though, which is going to be a big, hole to fill. And then Missouri's a team that a lot of people I feel like have higher than me, maybe, but I just really don't like them. I'll be honest. I don't like him at all. I hate Eli Drinkwitz. Brady Cook comes back. One of the best receivers in college football. Luther Burden is back, along with Theo Weiss, I believe. So they're going to be solid. But, I think they lost some people on defense, and I think last year was a fluke. And then Oklahoma coming over from the Big 12 as well. They're a solid team. Brent Venables has a little bit struggled to bring them back to the, how Lincoln Riley had them. But, they're a solid team year in, year out as well. And then A&M, another new head coach, Mike Elko coming over from Duke. They're going to be a solid team as well. A&M has that oil money, so they can go out and get some big players if they do need to. Auburn is a team that I'm actually pretty high on. I'm a big Hugh Freeze guy. They bring in Cam Coleman, who's a 5-star receiver, and also some other pretty good-looking freshman receivers as well who look to have some good upside. I think that might be a team that, as the year progresses on, they get better and better just due to the immaturity of some of their players. Obviously, their quarterback, I'm blanking on his name, it's his second year in the system, and that's always kind of a big
Peyton
year.
Thorne.
Peyton Thorne, yeah, came over from Michigan State. Yeah. So I think he'll have a good year. Kentucky, this is my Tennessee bias coming out again probably. Mark Stoops has done a really good job with that program, but he's never really, in my opinion, been able to get them over the hump of being like an elite SEC contender. They're always going to be able to compete with any team that they kind of step onto the field with, but I just don't see them being able to win a lot of games, in my opinion. And then Florida's a team that I feel like is better than people give them a lot of credit for, but they have the worst schedule in all of college football this year. So, I mean, unfortunately for them, they're not going to win a whole lot of games, but I think they do have a solid team this year. South Carolina, I think this will be Shane Beamer's last year down in Columbia. Beamer ball probably going to be done after this year. Lenore Sellers looks to be a really good player though for them, so hopefully maybe he can have some success down there. Arkansas, once again, I think Sam Pittman will get fired just because of lack of success. I know they brought back Bobby Petrino, hoping to bring back some nostalgia. Kind of reminds me of Philip Fulmer coming back to UT, in my opinion, but I don't think it's going to work out. So, and then Mississippi State, they have a new head coach as well, Mike Levy, right, Hunter?
Jeff Levy.
Sorry. You know, he's never had a head coaching position. Came over from Oklahoma. It's year one of his rebuild or whatever. Not going to be too high of expectations, in my opinion. And then 16, I think that's self-explanatory. Okay, and then my underperformer is going to be Missouri. I kind of already touched on it, but I feel like last year was a little bit of a fluke, and they lost a lot of people on defense. So, and then overachiever Auburn, also kind of already touched on this. I think a lot of good young talent, and they might be able to get lucky in a couple of games, and I think they'll get better and better as the years goes on. My SEC Coach of the Year is going to be Kirby Smart. He has the best team, so he's the best coach. SEC Player of the Year, though, I was kind of conflicted between Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck just because Georgia's going to be good this year. But I feel like Ewers will have some better stats just because I feel like Georgia runs the ball a lot more than Texas does, and Ewers has the better arm, in my opinion. And then my favorite jersey in the SEC is one that I feel like is a little bit slept on. I'm a UT fan, so obviously their dark mode jerseys are really popular here in Knoxville. But Florida has some really, really sick blackout jerseys. They're like military salute to service or something like that. The only problem is they wore them in like a noon game last year, so they didn't really look that good. They wore them at a night game. I feel like they'd be really sick, especially if the Swamp did like a blackout or something. So, yeah.
There's this SEC preview. Interested to see. I mean, it's not a bad list. My list looks completely different, I'm going to be honest. So does G. Russ's. G. Russ, you want to get into it?
Yeah. It's our under and over achievers are very
this
similar.
List pissed me off. Pisses me off.
Yeah. The reason why Hunter's picked is because I have Texas at 1. Hunter's big into the UT debate. Doesn't mean anything to me.
It's Texas University.
Okay. I think that Quinn Ewers, making the playoff last year really has built their confidence up. I think that they're going to come into the SEC. They're hot. They're out to prove something. I think. My only problem with Georgia being at 2 is that in Carson Beck's big game last year, he really only had 1 or 2. He lost to Alabama. So I think that, maybe that's in the back of his mind a little bit. Georgia has a really rough schedule when you look at it. But I only think they'll drop the 1 to Texas. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm like Barrett. I am high on Ole Miss. A lot of returners, a lot of transfers. Jackson Dart, I think, is top 3 quarterback in the SEC, and I think they'll look really good. Like Barrett, I'm a homer. I have Tennessee at 4. I think the hype with Nico is going to be real. I think the wide receiver room is deep. We have everybody in the trenches, probably top 10 O and D line in college football, I would say. I have Bama at 5. I think they'll be around 9-3 ish, maybe. I think that DeBoer, he'll have his highs, but he'll have a couple lows, and overall, I think he'll have a decent first year at Alabama. Missouri, like Bear, I am a little lower on them. They believe they're a double-digit team. I just don't think Drinkwitz can do it 2 straight years. I think last year they caught lightning in a bottle almost. They do have great players, but I'm not as high on Brady Cook as other people. I think 7 through 9 could be interchangeable almost. Oklahoma feels the way about Jackson Arnold as Tennessee does about Nico, former 5-star. He does have a little bit of turnover issues like he had in the bowl game, but I do think that they will. I think that they could maybe upset a teamer here or there. A&M also, like Oklahoma and Tennessee, they have the 5-star Connor Wigman. The question is, can he stay healthy? I think is the biggest thing there. They got a very good coach in Elko, who he didn't really lose a ton outside of the big Walter Nolan transfer, and I think that they're going to be a steady 8-4 program for a little while. LSU, I'm not as high on. I just think that they have. I can't think of their quarterback's name, but he hasn't really done a ton. I feel like yet in the SEC. I think that Jane Daniels will be a big loss for them. Auburn, I'm high on. They have had a really good recruiting class coming in, like Cam Coleman, the big physical receiver. I think Peyton Thorne's second year of the offense. Hopefully he can improve his passing because they were run heavy last year. Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee bias. I hopefully Florida can go 6-6. So they keep Napier one more year, so we can hopefully beat them next year. South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, I feel like are interchangeable. I think that they're all going to have down years. South Carolina, Arkansas coaches could be fired, and Clark Lee is probably gone easily at Vanderbilt. For jerseys, I went with Ole Miss Powder Blues. I think they're the best jersey in the SEC. The new helmet they got last year looks really good with them. Because they finished one. I have the Coach of the Year and Player of the Year come from Texas. Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers, and my over and under achievers are the exact same as Barrett, so I'll go with that.
There you go. I hate this list, but too much Texas. Hate it. All right. Up McCo time. Here we go. Here is my list. Now, I actually looked at over under odds and win totals. That's how I determine my over and under achievers. I also looked and went game by game schedule. So I have who they're going to lose to. So Georgia's going to go 12-0. They're going to go undefeated. Carson Beck is my SEC Player of the Year. There's a reason for that. Sure, he hasn't performed in the big games. I think he will this year. Ole Miss is going to be number 2. That's going to be the conference championship, Georgia versus Ole Miss. Their losses are going to be against Georgia and LSU. I think LSU is going to play the upset card and upset them. Tennessee's at number 3, and the reason why I have them at number 3 is because I have 4 teams going 10-2. You look at Tennessee's record, they're going to lose their games earlier in the season because I have them losing against Oklahoma and Georgia, which are earlier in the season. That's why they're up at 3. Then I have Texas University. Their losses are going to be against Michigan and Georgia. So actually, no, the SEC title game would be Texas and Georgia because Michigan is not a non-conference. Sorry about that. Didn't read that right. Forgot we don't have regions anymore. I think they're going to lose to Michigan. I don't think Texas is – I think, like Giro said, they're very confident in themselves. I think they're a little too confident in themselves. They're riding in full head of steam into the SEC. SEC is completely different. They say, oh, we deserve – it's completely different. I don't think you understand how hostile – like, you will get shot, okay, if you're not careful at some of these places, especially down in Bama, in Auburn. You'll get shot, okay? You got to be prepared for that. LSU is going 10-2. They probably should have been my overachiever if I wasn't so high on Mississippi State. What? Yeah. Sorry. We're just going to restart that. LSU is going to go 10-2. They probably should have been my overachiever. Their losses are going to be against Oklahoma, who I think is going to go into Death Valley and prove that they belong to the SEC. I think Oklahoma is going to be much better in the SEC than Texas. That's just me. And Bama, they're going to lose against Bama. Speaking of Bama, they're going to go 9-3 under first-year head coach Kellen DeBar. They're going to lose to Wisconsin. I don't think a lot of people see that coming. I think that Bama is going to lose to Wisconsin. It's at Wisconsin. It's a tough place to play. Don't. It's a tough place to play. They're going to lose against Tennessee, and they're going to lose against Georgia. Oklahoma is going to go 9-3 for good first year for them. Their losses are going to be Auburn, Texas, and Bama. Next up, Auburn. They're going to go 9-3. I'm very high on this Auburn team because I think that they're going to be very good. Their only losses are going to come against Georgia, Bama, and Missouri, which I think Missouri, that's going to be their only big one of the year. Because Missouri's going to go 8-4. They're going to lose against A&M, Bama, Oklahoma, and Mississippi State. Texas A&M is going to go 7-5. They're going to lose against Notre Dame, Texas, Auburn, LSU, and Mississippi State. Mississippi State's going to go 7-5. They're my overachiever. I'm very high on Jeff Lebby, okay? Listen, you look at their roster and you think, oh, this isn't that good. Trust me. I think that they have the ability to get a lot of upsets here. Next up is Kentucky. They're my underperformer. They're going to go 6-6. That's kind of where their money line's at anyway. I'm just not very high on Kentucky. I think they're boring. Honestly, I think it's a boring team. Brock Vandergrift's first year starting in the SEC. Their losses are going to be Georgia. I didn't talk about Mississippi State's losses. Arizona State, they got to go to Arizona State. It's second game of the year. You have to travel to the West. Kind of tough for a team from Mississippi. They're going to lose against Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. Kentucky's going to lose against Georgia, Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Texas. Florida's going to go 4-8. I didn't calculate their wins and losses because, honestly, it's not going to matter. They have the toughest schedule, like G. Russ said. It makes no sense why they would even – I don't think they can get to 6 wins, honestly. I think giving them 6 wins was very generous, in my opinion. They're going to go 4-8. It's going to be Billy Napier's last year. South Carolina is going to go 4-8 as well. Beamer's last year. I only calculated their wins because the rest of them I don't care. They're going to be Old Dominion, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and Wofford. Arkansas is going to – I have 2 teams not getting a single SEC win, and it's Arkansas and Vanderbilt. Arkansas is going to go 3-9. They're going to beat Arkansas Pine Bluff, UAB, and Los Angeles Tech. Louisiana Tech. Holy cow. And Vandy is going to go 2-8 with wins over Alcorn State and Ball State. So that's my – I did that last night. I took 2 hours studying this crap. My jersey is, of course, Tennessee Blackout jerseys. It's the cleanest jersey of all the SEC. You can argue a wall. I don't care. It's clean. And then my SEC Coach of the Year is the Lane Train. Listen, he's going to take Ole Miss to new heights. He got a really good team. I think that if he can keep it up for another year, that he's going to be really good. And so that's why I think he's going to win SEC Coach of the Year. So there you go. Any quarrels about that, G-Russ or Barrett?
I don't understand how Kentucky's your underperformer when their win totals 6-6. Is Missouri not?
Because Missouri.
that makes more. I think their win total is like 8.5.
I have them going 8-4, so it's right at it. I wouldn't say they're underperforming.
Very top heavy then.
Missouri's that good. What?
You have 8 teams going like 9-3 plus.
I have.
Is that possible?
Yeah, it is. Trust me. I studied it because I was not going to be wrong, and I got it. Okay. But yeah, Mississippi State overachiever, mark it right there. That's episode 25. We're gonna get into what conference do we want to do next week?
Big Ten.
Okay. Big Ten.
What?
Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Big Ten, or the Big 54 at this. Holy cow! Right, the Big
My bad.
54 is how it's looking. We'll be playing college football 25 on Monday night. Actually, no, just Sunday night. Really, early hours of Monday, right? Comes out
at 4 p.m. on Monday.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay, well, I'll be at football practice. Well, oh well. Trust me, I will be playing. I'm in the game, not literally as a coach. Here we go. See
Mike
you
Levy?
all.
You're Jeff Levy?
No.
Somewhere.
See y'all next week. episode 26 next week. I don't know. Sorry, there's been no clips. I probably got around. I've been busy. Yeah. See you there. Don't watch Splat Picks. Jesus loves you because they're not going to be on. Adios. Bye.